8th regular session of Kent City Council. We'll have a roll call to get started.
Joel Althauser.
Present.
Sue Fox-Broker.
Present.
Lydia Miller.
Present.
Cliff Winiger.
Present.
Chad Miller.
Present.
Peg Wren.
Present.
Doris Bloom.
Present.
Robin Jones.
Here.
John Schwimmer.
Present.
Lynn Webb.
Here.
Cindy Murray.
Here.
Thanks, Emma. We have a lot of folks here that put in a lot of time.
Sit down.
A lot of folks outside of this room that also put in a lot of time for their hometown, for their kids' school activities, for their neighbors, for their church. And it occurred to me that we don't celebrate that enough. It's really easy to get down about all the comments in social media, or to get down about everything negative that's brought up that folks do. But sometimes we just have to keep in mind there's an awful lot of good that folks do in this town. So with that attitude in mind, I would ask all who are able to please stand, and we'll have a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, we celebrate the incredible spirit of those who step forward to serve, turning compassion into action and hope into reality. Thank you for their courage. Thank you for the courage that drives them, the generosity that fuels them, and the vision that keeps them moving forward. Bless them with unwavering strength to face challenges, with joy that grows from every life they touch, and with the confidence to know their work changes our city and in turn our world. May their dedication inspire others to rise, to give, and to believe that even the smallest act of kindness can spark a wave of transformation. Let them walk boldly in their purpose, knowing they are not only appreciated, but are true beacons of light in a city that needs them. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, welcome everyone. Should be an interesting meeting this evening. And we will begin with, as always, with a question: are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as they were printed? Then they'll stand approved as submitted. Well, tonight we do have a couple of individuals on our agenda requesting time to speak, and we're going to start with Mark Schwimmer.
Thank you. Joel,
Yes, sir.
beautiful prayer. I like that.
Oh.
So, kind of stepping aside on that many of our councils open with prayers, and I've gone around a lot this year, and I've heard some very good ones. So, but that was by far the best and very applicable. So, thank you for your time. My name is Mark Schwimmer. I am running for Hardin County Auditor. The current auditor, Mike Bacon, is stepping aside after 31 years of service to our county. Born and raised here in Hardin County. I graduated from Kenton High School. After I graduated from Kenton, I went to Trine University. I received a bachelor's in business administration, and then on to Michigan State University for law school. After graduating from Michigan State, moved back here to Kenton, began practicing with my father, and have been practicing in that office ever since that time. I was just asked in the Buck Township meeting I just came from why I am running for auditor, and there's not an easy answer to that. Mike Bacon and I have known each other for quite a while, and we spend a lot of time talking on a daily, not necessarily daily, but at least weekly basis, due to some of the positions that I hold. And this was a conversation that we'd had multiple times about who was going to step in and fill his shoes when he stepped down, and he didn't really have somebody lined up to do that. And this is a position that we need somebody with some experience with county government, somebody with some experience in our county to fill in. And the more I spoke with him, the more I spoke with my wife and my father, made the decision to step in as an opportunity to help the county out. Again, the county auditor's position is one that is pretty important in this county. In addition to doing, the payroll, they pay the bills for the county, they handle your weights and measures, make sure your gas pumps are working correctly, do your dog tags, and of course the hot button topic we're all talking about nowadays is the real estate valuations and real estate transfers. So it's important that whoever steps into this position has experience in government, and local government, has experience in real estate, and can step in and hit the ground running. No one's going to be able to come in and do the job like Mike is. I mean, he's done it 31 years, he's fantastic at it, and he can answer, and Michelle will attest to this, he can answer questions that come, from the hip, that come up in our conversations, and he knows it. No one's going to be able to do that, but it's important that whoever comes in there has, a good foundation that they can learn and they can step in quickly. I believe with my legal career that I've put myself in a position that I have that good foundation. I'm currently the solicitor for the villages of Mount Victory and Dunkirk. I'm the zoning and nuisance officer for Cessna and Dudley Township, and I am the legal counsel for the Upper Side Drainage and Conservancy District. So I'm well versed in local government accounting. I understand how that differs from your normal accounting that you're going to see in a business. So I understand what that takes and the dedication that it takes for the people that works in those positions. In addition to those offices, a large portion of my career is in real estate transfers. Real estate is, again, one thing that I think is very important to have that understanding of what a good property valuation is. The legislature has given the county auditor's office and the budget commission some more powers with the changes that they've made to try and relieve some of the property tax issues that have been raised by residents, and rightfully so. And some of these powers they are able to pull certain transfers out when we go through a reevaluation process. Currently, we're in one of the triennial reevaluations where property transfers for the last 3 years are sent down to the state. They use those transfer values to create a basis for what our current property values are worth. Those of us who understand and who see what property goes for here in this county, good farmland is $10,000 to $15,000 an acre. What you're starting to see is some outliers come in where they're giving premiums for their property. Solar farms, large corporations, data centers down south, where you're starting to see property sales in $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 an acre. And if that would happen here in this county, and those numbers get sent down to the state as part of our valuations, everyone's property values are going to be jacked up artificially. And that's going to cause all of us then, to pay a higher tax rate than we need to. So it's important that whoever's on that commission understands that transfer is way out of whack. That needs to be pulled out. And we need to make sure that what's going down there is giving us accurate transfers and accurate valuations. So outside of my legal career, I sit on many local, state, and national boards. I believe the most applicable to this is the United Soccer Coaches, which is the world's largest coaching organization that operates with a multi-million-dollar budget. I was part of the team that was brought in last year to help right the ship after quite a few years of financial mismanagement. They were facing bankruptcy in January of last year, and they brought in a whole new board, fired the director, and we've been charged with righting the ship. And we've done so at this point. After our convention this last year, which is our main financial source, we've turned a profit of over $1 million. So we've gone from losing money to making money in a year's time. And that's without significantly cutting benefits, without significantly cutting staff. And I see that as being important, not only on the financial side and knowing what good financial oversight is worth and how it affects the bottom line and how government works, but also in the transparency that you give to the members. That's an organization that you're not forced to join. You know, these coaches do so of their own free will. They're paying hundreds of dollars a year to be a member of this, and they need to know where that money is going and what benefits they're getting out of it. And I see that as something very similar to what we have going on here in the county. We all pay taxes. It's very important that we know where it goes. And that's something that, from the auditor's perspective, we need to do a better job of, and making sure that the numbers that come out are easy for, you know, Joe Schmo to understand. They don't have to have a financial background to understand that the $600 that they paid in taxes this year goes to X, Y, and Z, and kind of what they're using it for. So it's important that office continue to do that and do a better job of it as well. So again, that's why I think I'm in good position to step in the auditor's office and ask for your support next Tuesday, if not beforehand, I guess. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but I thank you for stepping up and stepping in, and it takes a lot, and you're doing a great job on your campaign. It's a lot of hours and miles, and
It is.
so appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I'll
Mark.
stick around for a little bit, but I've got United Soccer Coaches meeting at 8 o'clock. So. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we also have tonight on the agenda, Mr. Thad Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Thad Gardner. I live in Ward 2. Members of council, thank you for the opportunity to speak. To give context for my statement tonight, my name is on 30 NHTSA safety defect enforcement actions with 15 NHTSA safety defect recalls, including 3 involving Carpenter school buses. Some in the industry have suggested my recalls cost Carpenter's bankruptcy, but that is just their opinion. The city of Kenton already knows about my police car, fire truck, and ambulance safety defect recalls. I mention this only to clarify that my comments tonight come from 8 years direct experience with federal safety defect investigations. I will begin by stating clearly why I am here. I am here tonight to pick up the city's LPA agreement for the roundabout, which I requested through the Ohio Public Records request process. I already have all of the studies, the reports, the presentations, the technical materials that have been provided to the public. I have studied and analyzed them closely. The reason I am speaking is that the documents I already have do not contain what the public has been told they contain. They create the appearance of a complete safety review, but when you examine them line by line, data point by data point, even from 30,000 feet, the substance is still simply not there. This matters because the decisions being made in this room are not theoretical. They affect real people in real vehicles on real roads. They affect every school bus in town carrying children. They affect all drivers approaching Kenton Railroad crossings. They affect families who trust that the systems around them are built on real safety, not merely illusions of safety. Right now, the roundabout documentation contains conclusions, but not the data nor calculations to justify those conclusions. They contain assurances, but no evidence those assurances depend on. They do contain data, calculations, and summaries, but not the work those summaries are supposed to summarize. It is like being shown a cookie jar with an invisible lid. We are told the lid is there. We are told not to worry. But when examined, we cannot see it. We cannot test it. We cannot verify it even exists. And when the lid is invisible, the public has no way to distinguish between a real safeguard and a symbolic one. A stack of documents and unproven notions is not the same thing as a demonstration of safety. So I will place the following into the public record tonight. First, I have analyzed the materials already provided. They do not contain anywhere close to the level of safety analysis the public has been told they contain. Second, without a complete analysis, nobody, especially the people paying for it, can verify the claims being made about risk, cost, or necessity. Third, when a process produces the appearance of protection without the evidence of protection, it creates a false sense of security, and a false sense of security is dangerous. Fake safety is worse than no safety at all. It is the same pattern you see in things like odometer fraud, tidal washing salvage vehicles, creating a fake Carfax to make a damaged vehicle look safe, and leaving the cookie jar open with rats in the kitchen. In each case, the appearance of safety is substituted for the substance of safety. The paperwork is made to look clean while the underlying hazard is left in place or made worse. The City of Kenton, ODOT, ORDC, and PUCO has not answered the email message from the Federal Railroad Administration that I placed into the City Council public file last month. The FRA email came after the notice of non-compliance I sent to the NTSB about the roundabout design flaws. The FRA took the time to send a clear note on the gaps in this project. ODOT has not placed one word in the record to address that note. The FRA email is not a small item. It shows that a federal rail group saw enough risk to send a direct response. When a state agency like ODOT, in charge of all state and U.S. routes in Ohio, will not answer a federal rail agency, that silence becomes part of the permanent record. That silence is the public record. The city has seen the FRA note, the city has seen my notice of non-compliance for the roundabout, and the 17 FRA Kenton Railroad Crossing accident reports, including injuries and fatalities. The city and city council have seen all the gaps in the safety review. Yet no agency, engineer, or contractor with duty over the Kenton roundabout has shown a Q study, a spillback check, or any step at all that guards the public from being trapped on our railroad tracks. I place this fact into the record so no one can ever claim this gap was unknown. The FRA spoke, ODOT did not. The deadly downtown railroad crossing hazards stand with no check in the file. And here's the part that must be said plainly. School buses do not survive on loopholes or compliance paperwork. Railroad crossings do not become safer because an old obsolete office policy exempts them from study or even acknowledging their existence. Lives are not protected by slogans, notions, fads, vanity, proposals, secret policies, glossy presentations, or broken promises. Lives are protected by real analysis, real engineering, and real accountability. Tonight, I am picking up the LPA agreement for the roundabout because it is the final piece of the puzzle. And once it is in hand, the public will know it has been given conclusions without the foundation those conclusions require. Hope and luck is not a safety plan. Assurances are not safeguards. And when lives are at stake, especially the lives of children, all Kentonites deserve more than illusions of protection. Bottom line, allowing preventable harm because it benefits those in power and special interests is negligence, gross negligence, reckless disregard, willful indifference, and dereliction of duty all at once. Thank you.
Mr. Gardner, is that You read that word for word, pretty much?
Yeah.
Can we have a copy of that for Emma?
No.
Okay. We are not going to type that in word for word.
You never do.
Two weeks ago when you were here, I asked you if we could enter
Put your
your...
questions in writing, sir, please.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Are you leaving, or do you have more to say?
If you have any questions, please put them in writing. I thought we had this agreement.
Okay. Are you done then this evening?
You tell me.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President.
There will be time later in the meeting for anyone else who has information that they want to share with council and the administration. And we'll move on to communications. Are there any communications any council members have to share or administration has to share? Anyone has to share? All right then, petitions, we have none, so we're on to administrative reports. And we'll start with municipal court. And I told Judge that I look forward to this because it is actually, it's very helpful for us to understand the municipal court, and excited to have Judge Tudor here to. I noticed though, Andy, you didn't, I mean, it's still this, isn't this the same?
No.
Oh, is it different?
No.
Is it slightly different? Okay.
The ladies have had lots of fun with this. The last one was more follically challenged, if you will.
Okay.
Representing the predecessor. This is supposed to be some kind of weird, have you guys got this?
Yeah, it was in our package.
Okay. So anyways, I kind of let them have that. Good evening, members of council, Mayor Webb, city officials. It's my intention that this presentation will be a summary of the activities of the Hardin County Municipal Court for 2025 calendar year, as well as an update on the court for the first few months of 2026. I think we already established you have the packet for your review. Hopefully you had a chance to look at that beforehand. Starting with staff and personnel changes, with one notable exception, I'm happy to report the staff is unchanged, the only real change being myself. My current 6-year term commenced on January 1st of this year, and while all change is difficult, I can honestly say that my transition to municipal court judge has been smoother than I anticipated. Certainly spending as much time as I did practicing in the court, both as the former prosecutor for this court and private practice, has given me significant familiarity with how the court works. But even more helpful has been to this transition has been my court staff. I think you all know Emily Kissling. I've asked her to come today because we're talking about things that happened before I was the judge. So I'm hoping that there's anything that she can help me with, and she's been fantastic. Obviously, I've had some initial anxieties with critical staff retention. Certain key staff losses would have made the transition that I've been through and going through much more difficult. However, the court staff's been extremely helpful as I evolved into my new role as judge. Emily and her staff, Shasta, Cassie, and Taryn, have been fantastic in helping me with this transition. Stacy Lutz has also gone above and beyond to help me get my feet on the ground, and I cannot thank all of them enough. While I have no doubt have and will make mistakes, I've always said my goal is not to repeat those mistakes. And my philosophy is always try to do better tomorrow than I did today. The transition to the bench is more than just an election victory. In addition to the heavy educational requirements mandated by the Supreme Court, including 2 full weeks of new judge training, I'm about to embark on that second week in a couple of weeks here. There is the concept of developing one's judicial philosophies. This is an ever-evolving process, but I've laid the framework down already. I ran my election under a firm but fair message, and I endeavor to develop my judicial philosophies using that aspiration as a guiding principle. I've been rounding up my team with 2 well-known attorneys that are going to serve as what we call our acting judges. These are judges who sit in for me when I cannot do it myself, whether it's because I'm unavailable, maybe I'm ill, or oftentimes, especially as I transition from the prosecutor, sometimes I've been conflicted because I was prosecuting cases and I can't also be the judge on cases I was prosecuting. So Hardin County resident Richard Reese, along with retired judge Gregory Grimsley, have been sworn in to serve as my backups, if you will. I know you're aware of Judge Grimslett's CV. He's well-known around here. Dick Reese is a longtime attorney who has for the last several years, I don't know how many years he's been there? So many years, we'll say. He's been working as one of the acting judges, so he's likewise very experienced on the bench. I feel very fortunate, as should the residents of Hardin County, that we have such a wealth of experience helping to apply justice in this court. I'm also very fortunate to have Upper Sandusky Municipal Court Judge James Ruhlin as my mentor judge that was assigned to me by the Supreme Court, and he's been absolutely helpful as I make the transition. So I thank all these men for their willingness to assist. The City of Kenton administrative staff, most of whom are here, who share this building with us, have been very accommodating, as have Judge Christopher, Judge Santo, Sheriff Everhart, Chief Musser, who's here today, Chief Cooper, Cromer, Brad Bailey and his staff, and I want to thank all of the Hardin County law enforcement and local bar association for their support in my first few months on the bench. All right, on to the report. Again, this was 2025 we're talking about here. So the court processed $1,250,384.50 in fines and costs in 2025. This amount was up by $83,778.05 from 2024. Our civil caseload was only up by one case, believe it or not, but our traffic and criminal caseload was up by 825 cases. That's about a 45% increase. I was not the judge in 2025, as you know, but I was heavily involved as prosecutor for much of 2025. I can tell you that the uptick in this was mainly from traffic violations. Much of these were CDL trucker cases as a result of construction-related traffic here in Kenton. The number of these cases have dropped in the later part of 2025, or did drop in the later part of 2025. I honestly don't think that was because there was less violations. I think the officers kind of got tired of writing them up. That's my opinion. I don't know if that's fact. But we have seen an uptake recently in the CDL cases, and I think that's part of the new signage and the new traffic patterns. The no left turn on Main and Franklin has been one we see quite a bit now. And I would expect these cases to increase once again as the roundabout project continues. As prosecutor and working with Judge Grimslin, we tried our best to funnel as much of the fines and costs into the city to help offset the large amount of property damage we know that was occurring from these semis being in places they shouldn't have been. I can't tell you where these funds go once they hit the general fund here at the city, but I hope the increase was noticeable. I know it did involve a lot of work from both the prosecutor's office and the court staff. The court sent $400,868.20 to the city last year in fines and costs collected from 2025 from traffic and criminal cases. I will note, based on my calculation, this did exceed the city's portion of the costs that it pays for personnel by a significant amount. Keep in mind that our pay, the structure of our court's kind of complicated, and the pay comes from various sources. My pay comes from three places. Much of the staff comes from both the county and the city, but I'm talking about the city's contributions to this. You note the court's caseload is made up of approximately 77% traffic and criminal cases, traffic being most of those, 23% civil. In terms of cases, county versus city cases, 2/3, sorry, I lost my place here. 1/3 came from offenders cited by the Kenton Police Department, and 2/3 came from either Forest, PD, Ada PD, Sheriff's Office, or the Highway Patrol. I think this court's often thought of as a city court, but we have the same countywide jurisdiction as a common police court, and most of the caseload from traffic and criminal cases come from outside the city of Kenton. This is actually a county court that's housed in the city building, something that's been set up by state legislation. I have many ideas for changes for this court, but I'm intentionally integrating those changes slowly. This court has a very heavy caseload. We have to keep the machine running. I plan to slowly implement these ideas into the court in such a way to both keep my staff comfortable and keep things running as smoothly as possible. Additionally, I want to make certain that the changes contemplated are truly improvements, not just change for change's sake. As Emily, I think, will attest, when I have an idea, she's one of the first ones I sit to and I say, here's what I want to do, tell me why it's a bad idea. And she's been pretty honest about that, and I appreciate it. But that's what I want. I don't want yes people. I want someone to tell me when I'm making an interesting decision or a not proper decision. But I didn't just say we haven't been very busy in the first 4 months now on the bench. In addition to managing our always busy docket, we are, I think, basically done revising the local rules, which is not a simple process. It hadn't been done in a while. And Emily did the lion's share of that work, and I, once again, thank her very much for that. It was time-consuming. She worked very hard on it. I think we're just about done. We're slowly changing the court's hours to make my time in the court more efficient from my perspective. You know, Judge Grimswood came from Ada. He had the schedule set up for his benefit, but it didn't really work for my benefit. So we're changing that, and we're still changing that. In fact, we implemented some changes just today. We just want the hours to make sense and be efficient. But we're making these changes slowly. Change is difficult, and we're not trying to cause anybody to have too much anxiety. There are some exciting things coming, including what I put on your table here. This is the new Traffic Violators Diversion Safety Program that's going to be rolling out here really soon. In fact, it's kind of actually started, although we haven't officially announced it. But there's a couple of officers who are aware of it, and they've directed people to it. So what this is, if you look at the pamphlet, and these are fresh off the press. We got these, what? Friday? Zero cost to us, by the way. This didn't cost the city or the county a penny. It's basically a diversion program. So if you are an eligible offender, a traffic offender, and that means someone there's been no property damage, this is your first offense in 4 years, and it's just a 2-point violation, speed or something minor, you can elect to enter into this program. There is a fee, but the fee is very similar to what you'd pay if you were just paying the ticket. We've partnered with SafeDriverOnline.com. They've been using this county. The juvenile court uses a program similar to this. If they, within a certain amount of time, just kind of give me the very simple highlights of this, take this remedial driver education program test, and they do it, and they give us a certificate back. Again, that costs the city nothing. It costs the county nothing. We will actually dismiss the case, and that means they will have paid the fee, so the financial part doesn't really change from our perspective, but they aren't getting the points and they aren't getting the insurance situation. We hear a lot of feedback that the municipal court's just a money grab, and this is kind of an example of us saying, no, it really isn't. We're going to try to give you give you a break, make your insurance rates not go up, and give you less points. Hopefully, get some education, not just be the whips, and give the carrot instead of the whip, as they say. So this is rolling out. We're going to meet with the different. I don't know if Chief Musser's probably not even aware of this yet, but we're going to meet with the representative, because this is just rolling out Friday, and get this thing going. So these pamphlets that you see, we have like 2,000 of them, I think it is. They're going to have a pad of these in their cars with them, the officers. And if they decide the person's eligible, they're going to rip this off, say, hey, here's your ticket, but hey, here's this program. Kind of a cool thing, I think. It's in place in many jurisdictions around here. Marion's got something similar, Hancock, Delaware. So it's been successful. And we've already got 2 people in it, which I'm kind of surprised about because we really haven't officially done it yet, but here we are. We're excited about that. I'm excited about that. I'm not sure how excited. Are you excited about that? Okay. Lastly, and I appreciate your time. I know that you guys have a lot of people talking today and being kind of long-winded. I'm starting the process of forming the Court Security Committee. This is actually something that's required by the Supreme Court, and we've kind of been a little bit lacking in that respect. This is going to consist of members of first responders, court staff, city, county commissioners, and our jail to address court safety standards. The county courthouse, as you probably know, has recently did some significant upgrades to their security protocol. And I'm not suggesting that's going to happen here, but what we do know is that as part of the new judge orientation, they have emphasized lately how the increase to violence against court staff and judges is definitely on the uptick, sadly. We had a few years ago a representative from the Supreme Court come and do a security assessment, and they found many things that, pursuant to Supreme Court standards, we were lacking on. Some of those have been implemented and changed, but some of them have not. So I think that's going to be a good starting point. We're going to go through that, see what makes sense. Obviously money is always an issue, but once again, this is not just a city court, so it's not just city money. County is going to be involved in this, I think. And I've talked to the commissioners already, and they seem like they understand that. I know Sheriff Everhart's talked to them too. I think they understand that they're going to have a part to play, and whatever implementations that we decide make sense as this group. Let's see. Well, I think that's roughly it. I'll be happy to answer any questions, and I've asked Emily to stick around tonight just in case these questions involve financial things before I was really here. I appreciate you coming. Anyone have any questions about any of this, the numbers? Anything at all? Here, go.
So Judge, on the TPS here, I see it's a $29.95 fee. Does that go to a certain program, or how does that go?
So-
And then the waiver, is
Yep.
that waiver kind of like their fine in essence?
Good question. So what you'll see on the back of these code things you're all familiar with, one of those codes leads to our recently updated webpage that has all the documentation on here they have to fill out. Once they're determined to be eligible for the program, meaning it's not a serious charge, they haven't done it in 4 years, we're not going to let someone continually do this. This is like we get a lot of people who say, "Hey, I've never had a ticket before in my life, I don't want one." It's like, well, okay, here you go. This is an opportunity. People make mistakes. This is an opportunity for you to take a little education, and we're going to try to be helpful in that respect. So, but what we don't want to do is disincentivize, I mean, sadly, when the Village of Forest, who notoriously writes a fair amount of tickets, we don't want to take money out of their pocket for doing so. So we collect what we thought was basically, in terms of the fines and the costs, it's similar to what it would be anyways, okay? We also will make sure that if Forest wrote the ticket, they're going to get their chunk of that money, so they're not out anything. Of course, the city gets a piece of every ticket we write too. They will then, if they choose to enter, they pay the cost, the diversion cost, if you will, to get in this program. They effectively enter a guilty plea that we hold in abeyance, which is a fancy word for we don't take it, but it's out there. If they then do this program and successfully complete it, the guilty plea will never come down. If they don't do it, they're found guilty, okay? The other code goes to the Safe Driver Online. They are not vendors of ours. We'll never write them a check. They'll never ask us for a check. The $20-some, whatever it is, goes to them, and that's their own deal. So that's nothing to do with the city. That has nothing to do with our costs. We don't collect it for them. Again, they're not vendors of ours. But I've looked at the program. It's very thorough. It's very good, and they're actually very willing to mold it to our needs. Like a lot of the areas that are doing this, like Delaware, bigger cities. I said, what are the odds that your program has anything about Amish buggies or farm tractors on the roads? And they said, it does not. But they said, we're going to add it. And I don't know if they have yet, but they said they're going to add it. So they're trying to mold it to what we want, which I think is pretty neat. So I'm excited about it. Again, it's just an opportunity instead of just being the pointed end of the stick, so to speak. It's like okay, you made a mistake. Let's, get some education. That's not a bad thing. And then we won't affect your insurance rates. So I don't think I don't know who loses on this, really. I think it's just a win-win. And again, the best thing is zero money. They print this. It costs the city, it costs the county nothing. So I think it's a good program. Excited about it.
Thank you.
Did I answer your question? Sorry.
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else?
Just a comment, Judge Tudor. Very refreshing, your attitude about this. Not that there was a bad one before.
Right.
But you want to explain the finances in a way that we can understand better. We have a long way to go because, as you said, as you pointed to our municipal court, it is kind of an oddity.
It is.
When you compare it around the state. Doesn't mean it's wrong.
No.
But it's enough of an oddity that I have no problem admitting I don't know that we understand it fully. I don't know that the commissioners understand it fully. And I don't know that the court has ever quite understood it, how it fits in with both entities. And you're already working on that.
Well, I appreciate it. And I will say this, I've known Cindy and I've known Lynn all my life, and a lot of people in this room. And I recognize there was some, well, I don't even know why, I'm not even going to contemplate on why, but what I've kind of said to my staff is we will play better in the sandbox. We will be better neighbors. We are, like it or not, it's a legislative thing. No one created it in this room, but we are together in this, and there's no reason we can't be good partners and be good, play well in the sandbox.
We all recognize that,
So
too.
I'm trying very hard.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Anything
you.
else?
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Appreciate your time.
Okay. Please.
So just real quick, I wanted to give some props or shout out to our officers on, well, the whole police department, but second shift lately, you know, what they do kind of flies under the radar. They made a tremendous seizure a couple nights ago. Sergeant Carter did a press release on it at the time, but, you know, I got to thinking, I was clear down by the Ohio River, you know, trying to hunt turkeys, and these guys are blowing me up about these seizures that they're getting because they're so excited about the fact that they're taking these people off, and it was the third one in 7 days that second shift picked up on. And it's very exciting to see guys coming to work and being excited about doing what to me has always been actual police work. I mean, we get caught up with trucks and semis and campers and trash, and that's all important, but when they go out and aggressively attack the drug issue, or, you know, aggressively attack warrants, arrest warrants, especially higher risk ones, they're doing that entirely on their own, and they're excited about it. Sometimes really excited, so like, just, you know, careful, but it's very refreshing for me. You know, we've had ups and downs over the years, and I think right now we have a group, especially on second shift with Sergeant Carter, who was, if you remember, promoted somewhat recently up here, and Officer Rowland with his K-9 partner. They're just absolutely crushing it out there. So that's all. I just wanted to throw that out there. So thanks.
Thank you. Fire? Okay. Public Works, anything?
No, I can just update on the project if you want me to.
Sure.
So the railroad board was supposed to happen this week, but CSX pushed us off a week. So the bore underneath the railroad tracks will happen next week. So they're continuing to work crossing Main Street down there. They're still working on the sewer. When that sewer gets over to the Perry Street side, then they will tie in the water line, because we do have the grant money that will complete that water line tie-in, and that has to be spent by the end of June. So it's important we get that money spent.
Right. Thanks, Cindy. Anything with economic development anyone wants to chat on? All right, then we'll move on to income tax. You do have, oh, I should have mentioned, the fire's report is in your packet in the last 2 months. Income tax, we have what you typically see, and then at your station was a new table. Christie, you want to describe it?
Yeah, the one that was at your station today, I just wanted to show you guys, because I know there's been a lot of focus on the tax coming in, and I wanted to show you where we're at as of 3 o'clock this afternoon. You know, we've received, the budget for the month is $397,500, and she's already at $472,900. And so, for the year, that would leave us at a net, below what we had budgeted by $23,000, and she still has, what, 3 days to go yet. So there's no doubt that we're going to be caught up for the year and more. She told me she has 2 very large ones yet to process. I don't know the dollar amounts on those, but she said very large. So, yeah. So I just wanted to show you that, and you'll get a full update, of course, with your month end April. So, but I wanted to show you that just so you guys would know.
Thank you, Kristen.
Yep.
Anything additional from the auditor's office?
Yeah.
Okay. Treasurer, law director.
No, John.
Cindy, anything more?
No.
I didn't notice, was there anything on that, your chart that
Just Mike's.
was of note?
No.
Discharge? Okay. Then, anything right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap up so I don't have to at the end. On the public works side, today we were at the high school, and today was e-sign, and that's employment, enlistment, or enrollment in college. And Theron, our superintendent, and Justin went up. He's the water crew leader, Justin Walmick. And Theron actively went into the school and kind of gave a criteria of what kind of person that we're looking for. And Chuck Moore, several of the teachers really poured in and said, hey, we have, somebody that really fits what you're asking for. So today we e-signed for employment Hayden Brown right out of high school. He'll start as soon as after a graduation party. It's pretty exciting. It's called our homegrown project. Emma and Whitney were Whitney is because she's HR, but they were instrumental in presenting everything for him. So it was a cool thing, and we just hope to, not only in Public Works, but all the way around, to actively recruit our homegrown kids, because we have some very talented, very bright, committed, loyal kids that, I think would just benefit our community. Police and fire. This past week, when we shut down Main Street, you put a lot on the police. Fire has to make a big adjustment. Police is trying to figure out how you get all these state routes that converge in one point to make some sort of decent chaos. It's chaos. But everything we asked of Chief Musser to do, and we did ask his input. That is always important. But like he said, the guys doing second shift, what they're doing is amazing. And, I hope the community can remember that, when we say, well, we should have police sitting there 24/7. Well, there's a lot of other things going on that I think we live in a pretty darn safe community. And, drugs are drugs, and it's a problem. And, again, we do have some super passionate police officers. And the fire department, again, it's the same thing, working hand in hand with BKP and everybody else. If they're short manpower, Kenton's covering. I think that's something that we have so much to be proud of for our community, that nobody's dropping the ball here. And I would say we have the best in the area, like in the state of Ohio, plus the whole region of the United States. Anyway, those big things really happen, and we put a lot on both of those guys, plus Public Works. They fixed a 12-inch water main at Graphic Packaging Friday. That was quite a bear, and for the most part, nobody knew about it. So it was a well-orchestrated, we have the right dogs in the right doghouse. So I just want to thank all of them. That's all, Joel.
Okay, thank you. We'll go on to reports, committee reports, finance, anything you want to?
No, finance meets May 11th at 5:30.
MOP?
MOP has not met.
How about public utilities?
We did meet on April 16th. Angelica has gotten all the landlord water transfer letters sent out. We had interviews, first round interviews last week for a new clerk at the water department. So that will help Angelica be able to concentrate on some special projects that she has. And second round interviews are this week for a hiree.
Okay, thank you, Robin. Any questions on that? All right, talk about streets, alleys, streets, alleys, and sidewalks.
We have a meeting this Thursday, the 29th at 3:30.
Okay, and legislation, codes, regulations.
Or Wednesday, sorry.
Wednesday.
That's right.
Wednesday right after that, all right. Reminder, if you can, and you want to see what these committees are doing, they're open to the public, so don't hesitate to show up. Individual appointments, regional planning have you guys started yet?
We did. April the 16th, we had an organization meeting, elected officers. Maybe Cindy already knows about some of this stuff, but City of Kenton submitted grant application to OPWC. We scored 73.3 points, so we should expect to see the paperwork sometime in July. That, for
Must be for the roundabout.
it's for the roundabout. We also, through, this is through the Grants Community Development Block Grant Program. We will be getting $65,000 for 4 units of playground equipment for the Wharton Park. And it needs to be done before by 8/31/27. And they have been busy with the demolition. They took down a house on Kohler near the water tower, and another on East Franklin, just a couple blocks from here. They have 2 more slated for Kohler Street. And Hardin County did qualify for a $50,000 grant-funded comprehensive land use plan, which will involve all the townships and all the municipalities. It's a 20-year vision of where we want to be. So that's it.
All right, Doris, thank you.
Welcome.
Parks and Rec Board, anything, Robin?
Yeah, so we did meet April 16th. I kind of like to reiterate this again, that the Park and Rec Board is made up of volunteers, 2 people that represent the school, Michelle Musser, and she does a phenomenal job with information from the pool, and Mike Steyer, and he's a great asset to Wharton Park, and Tasha Heidinger. The city can make recommendations to them and tell them where we're at, but they bring their ideas to us. They bring information to us that's going to help us better manage our pool, run the pool effectively, and keep people safe. So that's really our goal in managing the quarry and the pool. So that needs to clarify. Like, I don't vote, Lynn doesn't vote, Cindy doesn't vote. The Park and Rec Board, they hold the power to hear the concerns of the park managers and the pool manager and try to set the best rules that they can to keep people the safest. So they did make plans to change the age limits at the pool because we have some young kids that were dropped off, and like the 8-year-old was in charge of their siblings younger than themselves. So it becomes kind of like a safety issue, same as the quarry. Deb's had to call some parents to say, hey, they don't have an adult. What if they get a fishing hook in their finger? What if they get a fishing hook in their eye? What if they fall in the quarry? So we're not trying to micromanage anything, but we're just trying to keep people safe at the opportunities that we have to provide recreation in our town. So with that being said, some things will change with age restrictions. Also, the pool passes are on sale for early bird. It's a savings of $25 for a family pass. The bathroom is getting new fixtures fitted to host swim champs this summer. So that was what was discussed at our meeting.
Any questions for Robin?
Do we have a fee on the pool passes?
They're $125 right now, early bird passes, and that's a savings of $25, and that's to what?
5 people, right?
5 people. There's restrictions on the pass. You can see that all online, like the restrictions and what it all contains. But that's until what, May?
Until opening day.
Until opening day. So you can save $25. Is it 2 adults, 3?
I can't speak to that.
Yeah. So I don't, you can see all that online. All the information's online.
Well, a lot of people they don't ask me about that. They just want to know and get it over with. They don't want to look online.
Okay, any other questions? All right, let's move on. Grove Cemetery Board.
Yeah, they will be meeting on May 5th, which is election day, which I will have to miss that meeting because I'll be working the polls, so.
And how about Tree Commission, Lydia? I know Michelle's here tonight, but do you have anything?
Yeah, I actually was present when we planted the trees, and I was also present because it was at the end of my road when Hall took a tree down, and I think it's well worth the money we spent to have them do it. you know, it's just, and Michelle said she was gonna say a word because she was there, so.
So I didn't make it, I had a last minute change when Gary and Tara came in, and so I just wanted to come up and just thank you guys for all that you do for Tree Commission. We had some really big trees we took out last year, which took up a lot of the funds, but this year we got more trees taken down than we did, so I think we're at 31 different entities, some trim, some stumps, but we're making progress on that end, and so just very thankful for that. Again, shout out to Don Hall. They do a fantastic job, and it's nice that all the trees are gone all the way to the stumps. We don't have to go back and do those again. Arbor Day was a great success, so we got those done, and we'll continue to work with those. What's the other thing? Oh, the ordinance. So thank you for working on the ordinance. I don't know where that is in the reading, but to have outside of the city limits, to have somebody come on Tree Commission, that way we can get people that are excited about trees and working in that field. So that's going to be a huge help. So I really thank you guys for that. And other than that, we got big thing. Stephanie's coming in June, so I think we have 3 or 4 days that she's going to be here all day. And we're going to be going back through and reevaluating all the trees, and so that's going to be a huge asset to getting the most dangerous, problematic trees taken down before just all, yeah, it's tough out there, but, so we're excited. We got a lot of things coming up, and so just thank you. Thank you.
Any questions from Michelle or Lydia? All right, thank you, Michelle. BKP met a week ago tonight. I believe, if memory serves me, our meeting was about 8 minutes long, went over the financials. Things seem to be running fairly well right now, so. Move on, old business, new business, nothing on the agenda, unless someone has something they want to add. So let's go on to ordinances and resolutions. You see nothing for first reading. So let's go on, read the second readings.
Resolution number 006-26, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director of the City of Kenton, Ohio, to enter into a professional services agreement for design and funding assistance of downtown Phase 2B water and sanitary sewer replacement project with OHM Advisors and declaring an emergency.
First, I'll ask, nothing has changed on time commitments, okay? Does anyone have questions? If there are no objections, we will read that again at the next meeting for a third and final time.
Ordinance number 26-006, an ordinance providing for additional appropriations and for transferring funds for the year 2026 for the City of Kenton, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Again, no changes as far as time. Any questions? Also, if there are no objections, we'll read that again at the next meeting for a third time.
Ordinance number 26-009, an ordinance amending and restating codified ordinance section 276.02 relating to the Shade Tree Commission of the City of Kenton.
Of course, this was just referred to a couple minutes ago. Any questions? Then we can read this, if you're all okay with it, in 2 weeks at our next meeting.
Resolution number 007-26, a resolution finalizing actions under codified ordinance number 24-013 to permit the City of Kenton to enter into a highway improvement agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation and declaring an emergency.
You want to remind us what this is, everybody?
It's a roundabout.
Roundabout.
I wasn't trying to be funny.
Roundabout.
I just want to make certain everybody remembers that sometimes in the headings, you don't really see the meat of it, so.
This is the roundabout.
This is the roundabout.
Roundabout.
All right, we have read this 3 times. Any questions?
I move we adopt resolution number 007-26.
Thank you, Chad.
I will second.
And that's seconded by Cliff. Is there any discussion? Okay.
Sue Fox Broker. Yes. Lydia Miller.
Yes.
Cliff Winiger.
Yes.
Chad Miller,
Yes.
Peg Ren,
Yes.
Doris Bloom,
Yes.
Robin Jones.
Yes.
That passes by a vote of 7 to 0. Are there any other matters anyone wants to bring forth this evening? Anyone from the public that would like to address council? News media, questions? Council members, administration, start, Brad, anything? Christie?
Just thanks for passing that resolution.
Okay. Chief, any last minute, police, fire, Kyle, anything? All right, Judge? Anything you think of? Thanks again for being here. Sue? Welcome back, Lydia.
I have nothing to add to.
Okay.
Just happy
I've
to
got
be
nothing.
back.
No, thank you.
Of course I do.
Sure.
We had the city cleanup on Saturday. We missed Arbor Day, but we revitalized Canton, and many volunteers that we didn't expect, that just showed up, worked extensively on the parking lot beside the theater. It's looking a lot better. We have bought glue for the mulch to be sprayed when it's not going to rain, probably this weekend. And the stone magically disappeared. So we had
We got it.
volunteers who walked around, cleaned up trash on the streets, in the alleys, just generally cleaned up the downtown. They said it was not as much debris this year as last year's. So that was encouraging.
So I went to the Arbor Day celebration, and it was a great day. I'd like to give a lot of thanks to Michelle and Gary Whitmer and Tara Meyer and her boyfriend Aaron Shirk. And all Michelle's kids were there, and it was really nice. Lynn read the proclamation. Cindy helped get the trees where they needed to be, and it's just really nice. The trees were beautiful. It was a great day, and we had a lot of fun. So I thank all that tree commission, because it really looks nice by the library if you get a chance to drive by and see. And the city crew dug the holes. So thank you to them, because they had a really big day on Friday. I don't know when they dug the holes, but Friday was a monster day for them. So thank you very much to the city workers.
John, anything you?
Nope.
All right, Cindy, last words?
Michelle, do you guys want to put the mulch down at the trees? So how many bags, just, when we're done, you just need to tell me how many bags to get and when you want them, okay?
Lynn? Okay. I would just echo a lot of the sentiment here tonight, starting with police and fire. And Chief, I'm glad you mentioned those seizures and what that second shift crew's been doing lately. It's nice to see some folks really have some positive comments on Facebook, some, go get them, great. It was really nice to see that. And that was part of what I had thought, and then also that cleanup that has happened. That has happened probably for, wow, I bet it's been 20 years at least, other than maybe 1 year in COVID, that hasn't happened. In all kinds of different forms. I mean, it started out with more flowers, but it just says an awful lot that folks want to clean up their town.
Mm-hmm.
And what impresses me is you had volunteers I know that don't live in Kenton.
That's right, we do.
And every year we do.
And they're there faithfully.
That come in, and they do not live in Kenton.
Right.
They just want to see it nicer. So we thank all of them and everyone that does what they can. Our next meeting then will be May 11th, 2026, at 7 p.m. right here. You do see quite a few committee meetings coming up, so unless they're missing something, we're adjourned until then.